I want to get back to the legal aspect, and because I think that is going to be the more critical part going forward. We have been hearing about the fake news, what consequences is on that. We have been hearing about the defamation, and we have been hearing about the hackers, that the hackers are the government of Russia, officially. Then what are the consequences? Because we have been just following that is Russia, hackers, and influence the US election. But from the legal point of view, that may happen to the Vatican, to everybody, to every single company in the world. Then what are the legal consequences? And I was clear with the legal presentation, because I think that will be one of the most important topics later on. Today, we have to defend ourselves many times with the Facebook, and anybody can put whatever they decided to put without any consequences. Then that is my question to the people here, the experts that are analyzing these questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Lambert, you wanted to say? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. No, please.
Lambert was first.
Thank you. I want also to come back to legal question. I wonder if all the law concerning the protection of privacy could not be used in this case, because many crimes on the networks are connected with this problem of privacy. What do you think about, and how law can help us to fight this?
Well, you both raised two very important questions: protection of privacy and protection from fake news, criminal offenses, hacker, and so on. Well, the answer I'm trying to give has nothing to do with the connectivity. I mean, we have this problem today, and we still don't have a connectivity as human right. So it is a problem we have to face now, and it's nothing to do with connectivity. Of course, in the case in which connectivity would be recognized as a human right, then someone could pose again the question, what about legal offenses and crimes committed online? But what I want to stress is that they are two slightly different problems. Even if we would deny connectivity as human right, still we would have the other problem. So going back to your questions, some regulations exist, as you know very well, about privacy, data protection, against cybercrime, and so on. So many regulations exist. They are not the same all around the world. Of course, European countries have a strong protection of privacy and data protection. Both are fundamental rights under European Declaration of Fundamental Rights. They are not considered fundamental rights all over the world. They are considered fundamental rights in some countries, not everywhere. On the other hand, many legislation on cybercrime exist. Many international conventions exist. Which is the problem? The problem is that jurisdictions are different, and applicable laws are different. So if an event happens, a violation of a right happens, the different judges in different places of the world can apply different rules, of course, because you do not connect the violation only with the internet, with the network. You connect the violation with the place in which the damage has been caused. And so the problem is the connection between the fact and the jurisdiction, the fact and the applicable law. So you can have different answers, of course, for different laws and different jurisdictions. If you consider the problem from a global point of view and not from a regional point of view, some efforts are made by many organizations to coordinate legislations. For instance, the UN has made many efforts, and other efforts are made at international level, and so a complete answer should consider each topic, but I hope I gave at least an idea of the answer.
Thank you. Von Braun.
Could you clarify, Gisela, you said law can remove obstacles. I thought, simplistically speaking, that we want to establish obstacles so that those who are currently unconnected cannot be bypassed by government or by regulators. So can you clarify what obstacles, is it semantic what I've just said? I want to see us create obstacles so that those who are unconnected can no longer be bypassed and are quickly getting connected. Through declaration, it's a rights issue. And if it's a rights issue, maybe they cannot sue the state, but they get more voice. So that's sort of the sequence, the legal political argument. How do you see that?
I'll try to elaborate on this point. In many cases, the role of a rule is to try to remove legal obstacles, if any, or as in this case, to remove inequality, a condition of inequality, of disadvantage. So the scope, the aim of affirming that connectivity is a human right is to put at the end in the same position people who today have connectivity and people who today don't have connectivity. So today there is a condition of inequality, and the rule of a law, of a principle, could be to, I don't know how to say it, to remove inequality. That's what I wanted to say.
We have the last question for Kirk, and then we go for coffee break.
Yes, I would like to comment on a question that was raised earlier by Mrs. Zamora, and that is Connectivity obviously expands the ability of people to express opinions. Therefore, it should fall within the framework of the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This is really a very broad concept, freedom of opinion and expression, because in current practice it covers not only the expressions of individuals, but also of entities such as Standard & Poor's, making their opinions on ratings of states. This also is protected by the right to freedom of opinion and expression. Now, what is often overlooked, but what is relevant in the context of internet and connectivity, is the actual regulation of international law that exists, and which says that the exercise of the right to freedom of opinion and expression carries with it special duties and responsibilities. It may therefore be subjected to certain restrictions, but this should only be such as provided by the law and are necessary for respect of the rights and reputation of others, or for protection of national security, public order, or public health or morals. Now, this is Article 19 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. In other words, and that, of course, is a treaty which has been ratified by, 180 states, so it's really very authoritative. The interesting thing here is that this sort of provisions, which are hard law, they are not, recommendations, they are not some sort of policy statement, they are very seldom referred to, but they are very important. And I believe that in the future it would be quite useful to look into what it means to use the instruments of internet with special duties and responsibilities in mind, and what kind of restrictions, if any, could be legitimately imposed to protect reputations of people, national security, public health, morals, all these values that are determined by law. Now, I'm saying this because very often in discussions like our discussion this afternoon, these sort of things get neglected, but I think they shouldn't be. Thank you.
Thank you. And then I think we close this session. Sorry? Oh, sorry. I didn't know. Yes, please.
Okay. Now I wanted to comment for Monsignor Sanchez-Orondo about the dark web. Effectively, there is a huge amount of information that is not reachable to everybody, but that includes also the corporate information, the one that sits inside the organization. Okay, so if you look at that, for sure, you have a huge amount of information that it's not reachable. The dark web itself, so the place where normally criminal activities get conducted, etc., it's very, very tiny, as a matter of fact. And you can imagine also, because if it would be big, then people would need to buy hardware and resources to run that, and that would be easily trackable. So effectively, it's quite limited. It's important, but it's limited compared to the overall infrastructure.
Are sure about this? Because
Absolutely.
we have another information for the police.
Absolutely.
But the English police say another thing that is very important.
Well, it's a matter of budgets as well.
Not in volume.
No, in volume.
Okay.
Normally you talk about the dark web and the gray web, and you say that the gray web, it's huge, but because it includes information that it's not reachable from anybody, but that's supposed to be so. I mean, most of the information, it's not freely accessible. So if I try to read my friend Roberto's Viola emails, I can't. If I try to read your emails, I can't, and that it's obscure, of course, but it's not the illegal portion. The one that is reachable via Tor, the onion router, so the software that it's used in order to try to not get tracked, it's very, very tiny. It's significant in its effects, but it's very, very tiny in terms of amount.
We want to organize a meeting about this question. No, really. Because the new form of slaves and forced labor, prostitution, and traffic of organs go in great part of this way. So we want to know the extension of the problem and some solution. Thank you.
We have some 10 minutes for breakfast, for coffee break, and then we continue our discussion.
Okay.